Okay, so this was an interesting case. Just the box in general was pretty neat. I really didn't see there was seemed to be a little bit of a kerfuffle in the pure math right up to here. Then I find out he had a burglary charge here, assault the dog. Now what do we have? Beyond you've already said no to this man. You've never met him, didn't even bother to try to train the qualifications. A horse thief is a horse thief is a horse thief. Where do you put your best thief or burglar in the military? There, Ranger. If it was D&D and shave and drink coffee was at least in the window, I mean he's obviously keeping it trimmed. Um, well then, what the fuck was the problems here with bringing it into the 560 class? They were never. I get why Paris Island, Fort Jackson, what did you got there? Fort Knox, anything else? Those are all well defined, and we have the engineering process. We have prisons. We have prisons all over the country, Salty Dog. Which you don't have the right masons in there usually. And I'm just gonna snowball here some drop back on Mongor that's not really still capable of the war tribe set of it anymore, and or burnt out, because I've seen some big ass salty dogs down in there, and well, that's what you would do with them. They probably some freedom about choice. I don't want to do it for war no more. Put me in charge of something. Yeah, I mean that's just how it works. This guy hadn't learned it yet. I mean, remember first day Crucible after Nimrod's camp here, we got to burn it off of him, turn him into Necron. Can I do that? Does probation seem like the best option? Well, what do we know from the track record? Well, that's going to come up in internal spin mass. And what do we know about, again, the judge is not going to have a choice, pure math here. The system says, well, they're about to go through there without him saying negotiating. What do you think? County, you going to do it this time? Consecutive 2 years going to burn you out to take that type of freedom that is not allowed in the prison system. The ankle bracelet or old Salty Dog's camp, which he does not have option to. He has no moral license to tell the intelligence short of this audit that he is going to have to face right there. It seems credible. This person does have mental faculties, seems fairly articulate, but even if in the standpoint they were not, what part of that facility deals with the finishing school aspects of that best? Do you really think it's prison or county or probation? Now, there will be some situations where kids come into this, and families, and other situations. We already have this stand in. There are plenty of reasons why Holman's going to drag a drunk guy out of the car in front of the kids and detain them in such a manner. Freedom of balls. But, when this comes down to, well, that's 5 years in an RN program taking care of a salty camp for it. Did anybody bother to do the math? What was our return? If the math, does the judge then know that? Because eventually I'm not going to have a choice. I can't fight gravity if I was this judge. All I could know is that, for me, example, Delaware County, for our intake before I switch them off anywheres, has a population count that can't go beyond this. Even if the secondary beta policy of putting two people in a pod together was accepted for this model, that we had the proper round-offs, where does that come in? Because it's not an annual pitch. It's certainly not quarters. I imagine it'd be high in the summer or in the winter when people get close together, depending on the variable. And certainly considering winter, if it's a necessary factor, maybe not so much in the bandwidth of Texas's timeline window, but I'm sure it still plays a little bit. It gets cold. We just can't have them out there. Well, there's the frostbite on the soldier in Texas last year, or something like that. Big ass kerfuffle of a wild snowstorm that played through that is completely erratic for Texas. Even if you were to infect, I caught heavy on salt this year, and unless somebody was good on the almanac about catching a warm winter, then I probably am heavy on salt into next year. So, Texas is even going to be more so than that. By the way, they have to set that probability, caught it in the cod piece, and let's say that that's now the prison system at large. Here I only have a storage facility for the salt that we're dealing with, or at least the ionization thereof. There's no way you can't say it's going to have. Independently, short of wearing this, I throw them back in a Hanes t-shirt and boots, and I ask them, with the officer squad car sitting out back quietly, go in there and buy a soda. Nothing happens. They buy the soda. They get back in the squad car, we go. I take that back down to the judge and show them, what was your fucking problems, assholes? Now, I don't mean to do that to beat up on the judge in this case, but that is our husbandry issue. That is our fucking problem. Why we cannot get this person on a shave and drink coffee program. Why Salty thinks he needs, if in this scenario, would need me to do that without the first contact, phone calls, IMs, messages from the loose. I don't expect Salty to be in that situation. We have fucking HR for this. We have REITs full of people that are just trying to scam assholes out of insurance. Why are we not implementing a better strategy? I'd rather have that in-house and have a few house scammers going down, which I can internally affairs and roast in acid and replace than trying to do this, because he was a burglar. His choice in money was to subsidize or mainline this in some form. Why couldn't I not think of positive index? Such a damn good heroin expert. You should have that dual diagnosis. Damn near better than the RN over there about what that fucking thesis would be for that little old lady's weaning off process therein. Do you think you go heroin or fentanyl along on that, or is there other subsets to this index that we use? What are the natural timelines for this? Did anybody fucking bother? We used to, right, Judge? I'm sure that would be the one that made him wince, or you'd see an isomatic crack just a little bit, because it is it in those moments. It really is. And when Judge not in trouble here, like I'm not in trouble, but it hurts. I mean, we can't have access to that. It totally rendered one of our mechanisms totally worthless. Bush stole all the fucking W keys out of the White House. Beat the shit out of the shave and drink and coffee program. And most of the time as NCOs, you're just trying to fucking hang on. I'd love to get in that desk, but there's the idea. I stopped doing this. I'm not saying that this wasn't ready to replace or there's some system mechanism for it, but damn, why couldn't I put this over there and let this same video play out about what does? It's on the YouTube. Did this guy clear it? Did he give consent by this standard? Is consent no longer a mechanism worthy of it? And what did we have to really compel that argument for what stands in here? I'm sure the judge is going to be real important about that, telling somebody to take it up in the chambers with them before we nullify this whole fucking place.